So I just received my new generator. It's made by WEN. It's a 4500 watt dual fuel inverter generator, model DF450i. I'll leave a link to Amazon to purchase. In the box, this is what you see when you kind of open it up. It has some basic tools, a couple wrenches, a screwdriver. You have an oil funnel and the propane connector. So looking at the control panel, you can see we got two AC outlets in the middle, a 30 amp RV ready plug in the next to that. Top right corner is two USBs. Under that's a 12 volt, kind of like cigarette lighter style. Under there, then you have threads for your propane connection. When you start this, you'll turn it from off to choke, and then you'll go to run once it starts. This is a neutral floating ground, but down here in the right corner, there's a grounding post, kind of nice. And then here, looking at the manual, here's your recommended oil types. So they just give you a little chart so you can pick which oil is going to suit you best. Before you start putting any oil or any liquids in this, you do want to kind of tilt it up and get these little red brackets off. These are just for shipping, but they need to be removed before you start using it. And before you put fluids in, that way you don't spill your fluids everywhere. So the size of this generator, it's 23 inches long and it's 18 inches wide and 20 inches high. So pretty small package for such a powerful generator. I have it next to my old Generac. I can't use the Generac on the van because it's a not inverter, so it's kind of a dirty power, but you need to see the size. And then just to show, the WEN generator is RV ready on the 30 amp. So you see that plug looks kind of like, it looks familiar. It looks like the plug that we have right now. If your generator has a twist lock 30 amp, you will need an adapter in order to like fit your RV plug in. So here's the adapter. You can get those on Amazon. I'll put a link to it. It kind of it'll fit in just one way, and then you just have to twist it to actually, that's what I call a twist lock. So it goes in, twists, just a little quarter turn, not even a quarter, but. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this thing with oil. The recommended oil, I'm actually surprised they recommend synthetic, 5W30. It's the same oil that I use in my cars, so that's pretty convenient to me. Oil goes in behind the oil. They put the oil logo on here. I think I could probably peel that off, but then it should look that bad. Kind of just twist open, and then you have your dipstick. I'm going to change the dipstick. This is just a recommendation. The plastic one, it's just a plastic dipstick, and then magnetic dipstick, so we'll collect the metal shavings. There's no oil filters in small engines like this, so there's nothing to collect any metal shavings that might be around. So the recommended 18.6 ounces of oil, so I kind of got it measured out, kind of close. And then you just kind of fill it up to like, you can see the threads in there. You want to fill it to the second thread. I'm going to fill it up. There's no break-in recommended in the manual. I'm going to go ahead and break it in. So under no load, I'm going to run it for an hour to 2 hours. Then I'll change the oil. And then I'll put new oil. Obviously, I put new oil in. And then I'll run it another hour to 2 hours. But I'm going to like put a load on it for those 1 to 2 hours. Then I'll change that oil, and then I'll just call it done, ready to go. The manual doesn't even recommend doing any type of break-in, so this is kind of above and beyond. The generator started up super easy. It's pretty quiet. I was pretty surprised. I turned it to choke at first, pulled one time, started on the first pull, and then switched it right over to run. This generator also comes with a nice feature. When you want to shut it down, you turn it to off. You'll start hearing it start to struggle, but it's emptying the fuel out of the carburetor so you don't store old fuel in the carburetor. So after that first hour, I kind of use these little jack stands or ramps that I use for my car just to give me a little bit of height. Take the door down, pull that little tube out. There's a little yellow cap on it, and then just drain the oil. They make this super easy. I kind of like it. So taking the dipstick out, surprisingly, there's a lot of metal on this thing. So you can kind of see how it collected the shavings on there. The model for this dipstick is 55201 for this generator. I'll leave a link in the description for this as well in case you do get one and want to get the dipstick, but it does a good job collecting metal, looks like. And then here's the oil. Just after 1 hour, I'm pretty surprised how dark it got. There's a lot of contaminants in the assembly process that are going to have to be worked out, so kind of surprised it's so dark, but then not really surprised. So I decided to use my coffee roaster to kind of help break in the generator. It'll use a variable load. depending on like what temperatures I'm using. So good start to the break-in. So I plugged in the RV surge protector, and you can see on here I'm not getting a ground. So it says it's an open ground. Some RVs may be okay with this, but the Sanctuary will not be. If you want to get around this, you have to get a grounding plug. So it's just a way to make it look like it has a true ground rather than a neutral floating ground. It's safe either way to use it. I got the one made by the same company that makes my surge protector for RVs. So you can see now on the surge protector, I am showing the ground light is lit up. It's kind of hard to film. I hate filming LEDs because it makes them look like dim or off, but it is lit up solid. The grounding plug does take up an AC outlet. You can't plug anything into it, so that is unfortunate. You lose an outlet when you use it, but this is the only way to get this to work with our vans. So at this point, I felt comfortable enough with the van, so I went ahead and I attached it to the generator. No error codes, no problems. The generator increased its output. You can see I'm kind of like a little over 50, yeah, like 50% to charge the battery. So good connection. Generator's still not too loud, so I'm glad it'll be quiet in the campgrounds. Going inside, of course the panel will turn off right then. Looking at the panel, I got about 130 amps inputting right now, 126. Voltage looks okay, 118 volts, so you're gonna kind of see that fluctuate somewhere between like 116 to 122, kind of what happens. So just as a trial, I went ahead and turned the air conditioner on. I just want to see, can it run the AC and charge the battery at the same time, or am I gonna have some problems? Even with this generator and with this van, never use your microwave and your AC at the same time. It's not wired for that. So the generator kicked it up a notch, almost 100% on how much output it's putting, but it does handle the AC with the van, no problem. Coming inside, even with the AC going, it's still charging the battery positive 117. You can see the voltage dropped to 117, but it's still okay, it's in the range. So that's pretty impressive. It's still charging the battery at a good rate, and it's running the AC at the same time. So changing the oil after this second break-in, still dirty, but it is a little bit more see-through than it was. I think I'll put new oil in and I'll run it only for like 10 hours of use, and then I'll change the oil again. You can see on the Magnetic Dipstick, still caught some metal shavings, but considerably less than the first time. So got some trips planned now that it's fall. Definitely will take the generator on this next one, put it to some real world use. As at this point, I do recommend the WEN. It seems to work well with the van, but until I actually trial it out there, you never really know. So also with fall, I'll do some cosmetic changes on the van, just some little things. So thanks for watching.